Hello, everyone. I have Miss HADEEL with me, Cultural Islamic Studies teacher. What grades do you do, Miss HADEEL?
I'm teaching Islamic Studies and Qatar history from grade 1 till grade 5.
Grade 1 to grade 5. So Miss HADEEL has just popped in front of my eyes a fabulous resource that overlays the UN Sustainability Developmental Goals on top of a person's food intake and zoning in on health and well-being. HADEEL, how did you come across this, and how does this resource link to the work you're doing with grade 4s?
For me, when we started talking about the Muslim lifestyle and different manners we need to do in our life, so when we started with grade 4, we started to talk about the manners of eating, adab al-ta'am. At that point, I was thinking about that we are saving food, and our religion is telling us to save food and help others and eat healthy. And we have different basics we're using every day. So these basics are in a different way published in the UNICEF and the SDG goals. So I gave the kids idea that they need to choose between the 17th one. Which one it's matching with what we're talking. So they said it's no hunger, and the second one and the third one, it's eating healthy and being healthy.
So for any of our listeners right now, Ms. HADEEL and I are just looking on a document that's titled What's on My Plate, poster. And that's what it's doing. On it, you can see kind of a comic that says who grew or helped produce my food, and how far did my food travel to get to me. So we're staring at this document as we're recording this podcast, and it's extremely insightful to see how cultural studies, Islamic studies, Qatar history is playing a role in teaching kids United Nations sustainability goals. Continue, please.
And this is what we started to think about when we have to think about who, Allah created everything and created people to help us to find this food, and how this food is coming to your plate, and how we're going to save this to help others. So the kids, when they started to say, okay, there are people are working and getting this food for us, and how even we have to appreciate the efforts that all is this done for us. They went through the 17th one. The most one they were thinking about, especially now, it's about zero hunger and good health and well-being. And when they started this, we started to how much food I'm wasting, and we came back to the same cycle. When you're wasting food, that means you wasted time. People that they are traveling and all doing all this for us, and you are not appreciating the people they work to get this food also they unpack it for us. And so it's a cycle. It never ends, but it is. Stop and think about what you're doing and what your actions.
I connect this conversation deeply with my own son, who doesn't eat very well at all. And whenever he has food on his plate and he's making faces and not eating it, and he's 10, 12 years old, I go back to him like, you're being really disrespectful to the farmer, the farmer who planted all this food. And then you're even being disrespectful to the driver who transported that farmer's harvest to the manufacturer or to the packaging plant. And then how about the person that packaged it? And how about the person that transported it to market? And how about the person who put it on the shelves in the market? And how about the person who sold it to you? And how about the businessman who owns that grocery store? And you're not just being disrespectful to that one piece of lettuce. You're being disrespectful to the whole industry. So I really thank you for this conversation, because I think many parents at home can connect to the fact that we really need to reconnect our children to where food is coming from. And I love that you're having these conversations in class as well.
Yeah, and if you link it to our IB philosophy about reflection, it says here, what can I do different, what I'm doing and what I need to reflect and do it different. And it's not about just doing it. Who I'm going to tell to do this, how I'm going to inform about this. So my fourth grader, they decided to make a poster. It's just, encouraging kids not to waste food, especially now with the coronavirus. They need to build on their shields and they need to be healthy. It's not about this is the way you're fighting this virus. It's not about only wearing a mask or just sanitize your hands. It's about building your own body about this. So it's it's a lot of connections in a simple topic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the one connection I made that your students didn't make originally was responsible consumption and production. And I think that can be very well embedded in this topic as well. So Ms. HADEEL, I'm super excited to see the end result of maybe your students' assignment, but even more so how this encourages you to think deeper, which then encourages your students to think deeper on the next unit and the next unit, because slowly we're starting to see the United Nations Sustainable Goals, how they are connecting people back to how we're going to save our Earth. And we have to change how we think before we can save our Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. You made it. We have a few minutes. Let's make that connection you had made to the prophets and the teachings in the Quran. And you made a couple connections earlier. Can you make that for our listeners?
When we talking about prophets and how they were believing in God and how they reached this, when Allah sent the angels with the books or the message so they can believe, He chose that these prophets are going to be reflective. So they started to stay by themselves, think about what's the environment around them. There must be something bigger than anything I need to worship. So they started to reflect about actions. Okay, who made the sky? I cannot. No one can, even if you made the huge thing, no one can reach to the sky. Who can just make it stable like this? Who can make all the sun and moon coming in different times and certain times also? So I even told my students, see, they didn't learn in PYP schools, but they are still doing the learner profile, being reflective, being a thinker, being responsible, being caring about their community. They didn't say, okay, it's my message and that's it. No, they start spreading all these things. And I'm sure it's not only in Islam, it's something in the community. And being responsible, you have to reflect about your actions. You have to think about everyone, everything. You're living between people and between environment. It's not only me. And it can be. If it's only me, I will not do all this.
Absolutely. I love the connection you made that the prophets didn't just one day say, let's be good to each other and caring, that they lived life and they made these teachings after reflective practice.
Yes. And you will find it common between all prophets.
Absolutely. And all religions. I'm sitting here from a different religious background, and I'm making connections to my religious background, which are absolutely similar.
Good manners is related in everything and every religion and every belief. I'm not saying even.
Yeah, and I think good manners also just reconnects you. It's like bringing this society that kind of got disconnected in the industrial age, in the technological age. And we slowly, spent millenniums just disconnecting from our natural sources. And now when we even look back in religious teachings, there's a lot to pull from that reconnects us to Mother Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Ms. HADEEL, thank you so much for this conversation today. I'm super excited by the connections we're making here at QAS. Thank you. Bye-bye.